Hey guys, I want to talk with you about kind of a different topic today. This is might I don't know, be kind of a weird one for some people to talk about or think about. Maybe you never thought about it before, but the biggest thing that I want to convey to you in sharing this one with you is just the fact that I feel like it adds some really valuable perspective to life in general here, and it gives you a little something that I think you can use to keep a happier mind space and just find more peace and happiness in your life and just kind of keep things in perspective. I think is the biggest thing that you would get from contemplating this concept right here. But like I said, I know this one still to this day sounds crazy to people, or might be kind of like a scary one to think about, or it's still something that people laugh at, and that is quite shocking to me in this given day and age and everything that we know about just what's all out there in science and everything, and the data that's available to you, which by the way, I highly, highly recommend that every single one of you that listens to this goes out and does your own research and don't just take my word for it. And the reality is, no matter what you hear me say or what I say here, there's no way for me to prove this to you in your mind. It's up to each individual to go out there and seek the answers that they might want to find, or just get the clarification or the proof, or whatever way you want to look at it, that what I'm telling you here is reality. But just the plain and simple thing to come out and say it is that the reality is that we as humans, we are not alone in the universe. We're not the only intelligent life out there, not in this on this planet, even not even in the solar system, not certainly not in the galaxy and in the universe, and like whatever else the heck is out there in the infinite rungs of existence that just is there. And as I said, there's nothing that I can give you in this one short little burst here that's gonna be able to prove that to you. So I'm not even gonna try, but I just wanted to explain a little bit about how I arrived at those conclusions. This, for some reason, has been a major curiosity and fascination of mine since I was young. For some reason, I started just reading books and looking at all sorts of different pieces of data. Gosh, when I was maybe 18 or 19, I got so fascinated with just learning about, just aliens and what else is out there and other forms of life, and where we stand in the grand scheme of things. And it's only after like literally decades of just reading and being thirsty and just looking at all different sources, anything that I could find that I felt was credible, to provide a little bit of proof to me, because I am one of the most skeptical people, in general, and just the way I am in life. Maybe you're that same way out there. But it was just, like I said, after years of seeing like some repeated things. And then not only that, the most powerful turning point, let's say, came in my mind when I started to see like similarities and commonalities, and data that was more or less corroborated when you looked at a really broad swath of, uh, of different things that are out there. So just the different pieces of data started to agree between all these like seemingly completely unconnected like people and stories and all this kind of stuff. So that really just solidified it in my mind. But I am well past the point of any doubt, on this issue. And I just think it's a fascinating thing. And now I'm to the point where I know for a long time, like if you were a person that believed in like UFOs, aliens, other life forms, like whatever you want to say, like you were a crazy person. I still think that's kind of the perception. I think there's a general reason why our society operates that way. But for better or worse, like whatever that's worth in your mind. I mean, I just personally am to the point now where I'm like, I actually think you're the crazy one if you look at all of what's out there, even just the stuff that we can see. And we all, I think, have this pretty good understanding of the vastness of just this universe that we live in. Just study astronomy, like do a little bit of research on that realm. And I like I said, I think the folks out there that don't believe in this stuff are the crazy ones now. So I don't see any way that you could contemplate and have any sort of even small understanding of what's all out there and think that we're the only ones, or we're the completely just that we're it in the whole universe. That to me is insane. And as I said, I'm just telling you that is not reality. So take that for whatever it's worth with a grain of sand. But anyways, moving on from that whole thing, the part that the reason why I like to talk about this stuff and I like to share this stuff is because if you start to understand the reality of these things that I'm talking about, you'll start to understand like where you as a human being stand in relation to all those things. I equate this to the same way that you operated when you were in high school, right? You existed in your tiny little world, your little friend bubble, your little mini microcosm, and all these things that happened to you during that time in high school were just, it was such a big deal. Things seemed, you know, things seemed so important and so crazy in some regards, and so this and so that, and you were off in your own little world, right? Now, when the point in time came in your life where you graduated on from high school and you actually went out into a bigger world, let's say you went into college, or in all of your years like past that point in time in your life, and you went out into this very vast, big world, like we say, and you really started to contemplate just the bigger existence of what you were in the whole time, but you just had this tiny little narrow sight picture of your little high school world. But as I said, once you went out there into the world, you grew up, you became an adult, you got to see all this other stuff that was all around you the whole time. It had this way of putting things in perspective for you. And you look back most likely in your time in high school and you think about some of the things that stressed you out or some of the things that caused you grief or pain or whatever you might say. And you look back at them now, you're like, gosh, that was so silly to be so wrapped up in that thing, or so bothered by this, whatever it was, or so affected in such a way, because you see like the big picture, right? And in my mind, it's kind of like the exact same thing, like that you can use to look at even your adult human life now. I mean, we all have things that we go through that stress us out, that I'm not saying are not important things, but if you had the ability to one day when you move on from this earth and whatever this life is, or even like thousands of years down the road where we as humans start traveling out to other places like in the the solar system, the galaxy, or whatever you want to say, you would have this same way of looking back on your time on the earth and just understanding that, gosh, a lot of that stuff that I tripped out about and I stressed out about was really not all that important in the grand scheme of things. And it just, like I said, when you put these two pieces together, you make the acknowledgement in your brain that we're not the only ones, and we're a very small piece in a very big ocean of existence out there. I think that this can give you the ability to operate in your present right now life with just an extra added measure of happiness, and to allow you to be less stressed about your little things that you're going through right now. Because like I said, in the same way that if you were able to take your adult human brain and insert it into your high school body and go back and live through that time, like, could you just imagine the different way that you would look at things, the different way that you would live, the different way that you would operate? And that's, as I said, that's the analogy here that I'm making, is just try to use that understanding and inject that in your brain and just analyze your now with that same sort of notion, that you just know that there's more stuff out there, and there's a lot more going on all around us at all points in time. It's probably like way more important than what we're doing here. But it's only in like having that perspective and, like I said, that kind of personal acknowledgement, that I think that mindset starts to become a possibility for you. Because otherwise, like, you're just down in your little zoomed in perspective in your little world and your little life, and what all your little emotional, friend, whatever dramas are going on right now for you, you're going to continue to be wrapped up in that. I mean, and I'm not saying that, things that happen to us here are not important, not at all. I'm not trying to downplay things or whatever that you might be going through that are important to you. But as I said, it's just trying to keep that higher level perspective is worth something. I think that, yeah, it's an aid to help you stay less stressed. So that's it for today. I hope that makes sense for you. I hope that resonates with you or means something to you. So, have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you all soon.